So we can speak of also a semantic shift in all these problems, semantic shift which makes it very difficult to name what is about Islam, what is it, how we grasp it. In relation to Muslim migrants, for instance, during the 60s, they were mainly working class, guest workers, and related with factories. And the problems that were debated was all social and legal problems. And then comes the second generation. We speak about the second generation male, unemployed, problems in relation to integration starts. And the third wave, I can say, it is through girls veiling, but they are in the public schools. So they are much more integrated than their mothers in a certain sense. The mother is the first generation who doesn't speak French, Dutch, German. They are already in the public schools. But at the same time, so there is this double consciousness about immigration. We become aware that there are girls in the public schools and they are also Muslims. So it creates a problem of naming, how we're going to name. They are not only Islamic, and they are taking distance from their national origins because they are less Turkish or less, let's say, Moroccan than their mothers, but they embrace Islamic sense of belonging. So that's a problem of naming. We don't know if it's just a veiling question, or hijab, or tesettür, or burqa. So the names are shows us that that's a new phenomenon. It's the same for Turkish membership. Turkey can be considered as a Muslim country? No, they think they are so secular, they are ready to close a party, conservative Democrat party. So is Turkey should be perceived as a Muslim majority country or a country where secular values are important? Again, the question of secularism and democracy in a Muslim majority country becomes important. Thirdly, even the terrorism, the words are not sufficient to understand Al-Qaeda. We say Al-Qaeda, suicide bombers, because they are not merely terrorist movement. There is some kind of element with religion, martyrdom, and there's this mixity, impossibility to name it, and the attacks, the targets are important, not only that what they defend, they are also denationalized in a way, they are not belonging to a nationality. They are also taking the globe as the global stage, as the general, as their attack. It's not only the national level. What we come at is, I will speak about spatial transgression. In each of these cases, what disturbs maybe in relation to Islam, its entry into European public sphere, but there is an element of spatial transgression. That is, things that we thought was an affair of the Middle East, which is our subject, is no longer only an affair of the Middle East. The headscarf is not only a problem for Turks, Iranians, or Arabs, but it became, with the legislations, with the debates, a European public affair. Same for Turkey. It's a kind of, Turkey represents today a kind of intrusion into the European public sphere. And therefore, it also triggers this feeling that there is a sort of spatial transgression, and that's why it triggered a very important debate on frontiers, because if Turkey transgresses this limits of space, and public sphere also is about space, if Turkey enters into this space, therefore Europeans fear that they are going to lose their identity. There will be a dilution of their purity. They will lose something which is essential. So a feeling of loss of frontiers, I would say, both in geographical terms, but also in terms of temporality. Because we thought Islam was in the Middle East, okay, it comes into Europe, but also we thought Islam was backward in time. So there's some kind of ghostly presence, always there, But suddenly Islam becomes contemporary with us. That is, we are debating issues that is a concern for European countries. That's what it means, making part of European public sphere. Like gender equality, secularism, what is European identity? So it becomes contemporary of Europe. There is no longer time distance, nor geographical separation. I think this loss of distance, the comfort of the distance, creates a lot of anxiety in the European publics. Maybe it was Paul Schiffer, not maybe. He was the first European intellectual who diagnosed this anxiety of proximity with the other, who doesn't give up their difference, and this proximity with the other, who is not integrated yet, and who doesn't want to be assimilated. I think this creates a lot of anxiety, this intrusion of the other into this common spaces like public schools, like city life, like European Union. It creates a lot of anxiety. I think, so European public sphere is getting constructed in relation to Islam, that's what I mean, with the comfort of distance with Islam in time and in space is lost. And Islam becomes a contemporary European issue. I think the framework of immigration fails to understand this issue. It's no longer an issue of integration, because framing the problem in terms of integration still supposes that it is a Muslim-Muslim issue. Muslims have to become more integrated, they have to reform their religion, and so on. What I'm trying to get at in relation to European public sphere, therefore we share common issues. It becomes a Muslim-European issue. So the sociology of immigration or politics of immigration is only one side of the problem. It is still thinking in terms of vertical state politics and Muslim migrants, whereas I'm referring to a more transversal relationship between Muslims and Europeans, or let's say migrant Muslims and autochthons. I don't know how to distinguish, because that is the whole issue, Muslims and Europeans. So we're going to say about the other Europeans, autochthons, maybe. That's nice, no? Locals. So, before I have 2 more things. Do I have still 3 more minutes, 5 more minutes?
Actually, 1.
Oh, no, that's too little. Okay, I would say I make a jump, and what we are really debating in the European public sphere is, I would say, is the cultural values of European modernity. What we are really discussing, debating about is the orientation of European modernity. That is, to say it very short, Muslims today bring forth politics of piety, politics of modesty, religion, and whereas there are values that has been defined as European, liberal, and pluralistic, which they feel threatened. I think one of them is, of course, very much related to 68 sexual liberation. If we compare 68 sexual liberation, thinking that people have acquired these rights in European societies, like gender equality, same-sex marriage, and all these issues, and Muslims are bringing other cultural values in the public sphere. So they feel also threatened in these reforms. So what I call Muslims bring, especially through women, is maybe there is a politics of piety, we can discuss about it, politics of modesty, maybe trying to define private, public in a different way, licit, illicit in a different way. And at the end, I would say it is mostly the definition, the equation between modern and European experience that is questioned. Can we really define what is modern only as European? Or can we define European as a mono-civilizational union? Or can we open it up to different sources of civilization? I think Islam is getting interior to Europe, but making references also exterior to European enlightenment, that is, to Islam, which also creates a lot of fear.